Noticing God slot today, and I haven't twisted his arm. I just want you to know. Michael is going to be interviewed live today. It's nice to do it live, isn't it?
Lot of fun. And all these people, you know.
Yeah, I know, it's brilliant.
Not a screen.
No.
Talking to real people.
It's really great. So, Michael, how long have you lived in the parish?
I thought you were going to say, how long have I lived? We've been here 8 years now, haven't we? Quite something. I get really close to this. 8 years.
Right, yes. And you've got family locally, is that right?
Yeah, our eldest son, Jeremy, lives in Bradford and Avon with his wife, Francesca, and their 2 little children. I think some of you must have seen around, Simeon and Jemima.
And your mum?
Oh yeah, okay. My mum, she's in a home in Warminster, and I should have really mentioned something to be thankful for. We had her out of her home yesterday afternoon for an hour in the garden, which was really lovely. First time she'd been out of the home basically for over a year, so it was really great.
Great. Well, when I first arrived in the village, I moved into my new house, and there was Michael out in the garden fixing the fence, pruning all the branches, and then Caroline offered him to come and help me put up my shelving and move my dishwasher and plumb it in. And my goodness, Michael has been an absolute saint working with his hands. You're really gifted with your hands, and it's interesting that today Caroline was talking about craftsmanship and art and things like that, and I just see in you, Michael, a real gift of serving and also craftsmanship. How did you get to be so practical and able to fix things so well? I'm going to hand this to you.
Well, I thought you did warn me you were going to ask me this question. I actually thought, thinking about it, my godfather, when I was 50 years ago, it would have been, when I was about 10, 12, he was a teacher, and he died a few years ago. He taught in a school in Victoria in British Columbia, but he gave me a load of tools when I was about 10 or 12, so he sort of got me going, and actually I've still got 1 or 2 of those tools left. Some are sort of seized up, but there was a chisel that we were using on the floor actually to when we were doing the floor to push the boards up, and I still got the workbench that I made and with the vise in it that he gave me sitting in my garage.
Brilliant. Right. We were going to be inside today, as you know, and it would have been sort of, you've been able to admire the floor. But actually, Michael's been project managing the whole work in there, and it really is looking amazing. And I just want you to say, Michael, what have you enjoyed about doing that project? Assuming you've enjoyed it.
What have I enjoyed? I think doing it, the involvement of other people. That first Monday morning, I think about 7 weeks ago, is it now or something, when we had Pete Stratford there, we had Tony Day there, we had Chris Cloak, we had Nick Sorensen, who have I missed out? David Lockley and Michael Harrison. It was organised pandemonium, you could call it, as the pews came out, and we were able to sort of, some of them were delivered straight away. Chris and I went off and delivered some straight away. That was really enjoyable working with other people.
Oh, great, yeah, and that again picks up on from what Caroline was saying about working together and the family and the unity. Just like God the Father, the Son and the Holy Spirit work together, and we get a joy out of that, and God's there in it. But where have you been noticing God recently, as well as that?
Okay. Well, that brings me down to 2, because that was going to be my third thing. But I suppose a little bit echoing, I think, what Lorna made when she did her Noticing God spot about God's timing, really. The timing of this little project in the church, I think, was God's timing. And when it's God's timing, things happen much more easily than when it isn't quite right. Because we did look at this about 5 or 6 years ago, and just one way and another, without going into detail, it really wasn't quite the right time. Whereas I think I have a real sense that this was God's time. Oh, and you wanted another thing.
Oh, well,
So the one was, of course, God's time, and the other thing I think we found in our life as well is God's provision. You know, I think it was a huge encouragement to receive that funding from the Heritage Lottery Recovery Fund, or whatever it was called, which ties in with the timing actually quite a bit. But you know, when God's provided, and that amazing gift day when I think with the gift aid over £30,000 was provided, along with this amazing Heritage Recovery Fund of whatever it was, 29,000, and they said, oh look, you know, it was amazing really. They said something along the lines of, we have decided not to award you what you asked for. We've decided to award you a little bit more, so there's another 7,000 here to help you go forward.
Brilliant. Yeah, well, we're just really rejoicing in the timing, the provision, and the team. So thank you very much for sharing this morning. Great.